Alright guys, so real quick what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a breakdown on all three versions of the shoe, trying to find out which one's right for you guys before you spend your hard-earned money. You know, there are differences. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys what I'm working with here. The first pair of shoes I have here is the Jordan 1 Low Chicago Flip from the women's. I don't have a pair of lows myself, and this is the only pair of lows I have on deck. So we're going to use this just in place of a regular men's Jordan 1 Low. I've reviewed this, and if you guys missed out on the review, make sure you check that out on my channel. The Jordan 1 Low has actually been out for as long as the Jordan 1 High has been out. Now that's the thing, these don't get as much respect because like Jordan never played in them or whatever, so they kind of opt out and give you more mid quality on the 1 Lows as opposed to the super plush amazing leather grain, or like, I don't want to say it's amazing, but it's definitely a better quality or a better feeling quality on the highs. But the lows go for $120 in Canada, and you know, that's a pretty decently expensive price for a low top. When you break these shoes in, they are very put it on, set it and forget it. The shoe does very well any kind of outfit that you might have. A lot of different people love these shoes. As I said, super easy, super clean. They do give you that Jordan 1 feel, and it has similar design elements. Now we do know Nike patented the Jordan 1 High and Low, and now it's basically like it's a copyright. You can't copy the design anymore, so at least without getting in trouble. But yeah, the lows go for $120. They fit amazing. It's one of the best shoes that you can just slip on, you know what I'm saying, run out the house, go to the grocery store, come back, bust these up. You don't have to worry about it. The colorways are very vast because they have been out for such a long time now. If you have any of the colorways from like the early 2000s or the OG colorways, those are going to be the pairs that are more rare. But for the most part, you can readily find these shoes still, man. I mean, if you're into the lows and you know you're not a high top person, you can pretty much find these on StockX or Go, no problem. Lots of colorways, lots of options. Now you're getting a decent amount of value at $120. It's not insane. You can give these to your girl, you can give these to to anybody can wear these. Very unisex. You know, men, women, kids love these shoes, and they're not super over the top expensive like the high tops is, because the high tops be tripping. Now when it comes to resale value, I haven't really heard of anybody really reselling lows. I mean, I do know that if it's a rare colorway, people will resell them, and I'm not going to go into the designing because I already did the review on these to the mid, and let's check out the mid in comparison. So here we have the mid. Now this is the bread mid that dropped. This is a worn mid. Obviously I've been wearing this because it's my personal pair now after I reviewed. The reviews on the channel, make sure you guys go check that out. Now as you can see, it's very similar branding. The difference though is in the tongues. Here you have a full nylon tongue, and here you have a Jordan brand tongue with some padding, both made of nylon, but one has padding and one doesn't. When it comes to a high versus a low, some people really enjoy the way high tops and mids feel. Like for me personally, like, I don't know, I can't decide. Sometimes I like the low top and sometimes I like wearing a mid or high, but you can obviously notice the difference in height at the heel section. Just the overall styling of the interior of the shoe is just a lot different, gives it a different feel. One's padded, one's not. The price of the mid is $150 Canadian before tax, so you have a $30 increase from the low top, and it's $165 for some of the special colorways. Like if you get like one of them carbon ones or whatever, some of them are $160, so you know it can get a bit pricey. $165 for the SE editions. Now when you're looking at quality in the two shoes, the quality actually feels very similar between the two shoes. The leather actually feels very similar. I will say though that the low top leather in the mid panel feels a little bit less pliable, but I do believe the toe box is made of the same plastic synthetic, you know, it's made to look like leather, but it ain't. You know what I mean? We seen what happens when you cut these toe boxes open. So this toe box definitely feels like the mid quality, although the mid panel and some of the leathers, like this shoe hasn't been broken in. I haven't actually worn this shoe, but except for like, you know, I got my girl to put them on for the on feet, but you know, this shoe has been worn, so it's a bit more soft, so I can't really give it a fair test as far as to how soft the shoes are, but they do feel similar in quality. Now when I look at the toe box, box quality here, it does feel the same in the way I squeeze it, the way they're built, and the way they feel. But for another $30 here, basically getting a couple inches on the shoe, you guys can see the difference in height, you know what I mean? And that's basically for the most part what you're paying for. Now the mids, let's get a little bit talk about these mids here for a second. These became very popular in the early 2000s, and I had to get these because getting the high top versions of the Breads and the Royals are almost impossible without spending rent money. We do know that certain parts of the shoe are made of genuine of leather, and some parts are made of plastic. The toe box is definitely made of plastic. We've seen what happens when you cut that open, unfortunately, but the rest of the shoe seems to be, I like the fit of these. They do feel similar to the high tops. Definitely has a different feel than the low tops do. It's very hard to describe into words, but it feels like it wraps a more of a larger portion of your feet. Now it is a little bit more difficult to get on than the low tops, because the low tops obviously are much, they're much more slim, and all you gotta do is put your foot in there and just slide it in usually. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, maybe it's the lacing of these, but every time I put them on, I feel like my toe kind of like has to cut a hard corner, and I don't know if it's just because they've shortened the lacelet section as opposed to the high tops, which we'll get to in a second, because there's a lot of colorways of these mids, man, and they've been around a long time. Not as long as the high tops and the low tops though, but these are all that were around in the early 2000s, man. High tops weren't popular, and these had a decent price point, so people were buying these. Now if you remember from the review of my mid Bread versus mid Royal, you guys will remember that these actually had the Jordan brand on the back here. They used to come with this little Jordan insignia here. Now the uppers were made of a lot different materials in the early 2000s. I feel like they had some glossy materials, and they did switch up the colorways, but recently they've brought this back. These colorways have been hot fire recently, you know what I mean? So when these hit the street, your boy had to come get these back. The Royals, I've been waiting on both of these shoes, the Breads and the Royals, and I couldn't cop the original high top version because them one they're expensive, dog, you know what I mean? So the price point, $150, is pretty dope for the mids. Now if you don't really know shoes and you're wearing a pair of these, half of the time people don't even know if you're wearing a high top or a low top, so it's definitely a good option if you guys haven't been able to get the high top versions, as I said, man. Now resale value on these is a bit more for sure than the low top, because I don't even know if people are making profit off any low tops. The resale on these, especially the Breads, like these are going for around 200 now, you know what I'm saying? When they drop for 150 and they're going for 225, you know what I mean? That's a decent tidy profit, you know what I mean? Sometimes you only be making 50-60 bucks on a pair of shoes anyway, so resale is okay depending on the colorway and depending on the release. Not all mids are made the same, and not all mids are coveted the same, so that just is what it is. Now I do have something that I want to compare this with, and that is my Royal Toe ones, and that's going to be the next thing we talk about. The ones, now these retail for $230 before tax usually. The high tops are super coveted. These are what Jordan originally wore in the NBA. These are the things that people covet. These are the ones that get the huge resale, and people go nuts over and run bots for, and it's just insane what people will do for these ones nowadays. Everybody knows about a Jordan 1 fit. If you've ever had a Jordan 1 and you've broken one of these puppies in, man, you know that the leather on these is a different type of leather, dog. It's not like the mid quality. The mid quality is a stiff brick compared to these. Now I'm gonna do a quick squeeze test, and you guys are gonna see for yourself how stiff. You see that? You see that? You know what I mean? Look at that. You see the bounce back? You see the titties bounce back, doggy? That's what I'm talking about. Them titties bounce back. This shit is the real deal, man. When you're talking about leather quality, now I'm not saying it's the best leather, but it's definitely a better leather than the mid, that's for sure. What we're talking about here is a major price hike though at the same time. So with this leather quality, you're also getting a whole lot more money at $230. The colorways are super extensive in the Jordan ones because these have been out for as long as time can tell. Now they did take a break on these in the early 2000s, as I said. They kind of slowed up on the releases of these, but these are what Jordan wore, man. These are what people covet, and the resale on these is exceptional. Now as far as rarity, man, it's getting hard to find these, and it's getting hard to even cop these at all without bots, and that's the problem we're dealing with these days, man, is bots are buying up all the Jordan 1s, so it almost seems like no matter what Jordan 1 it is, it doesn't matter, it's selling out, fam. So you know what I mean, the rarity is high on Jordan 1s, and really, if you get any Jordan 1, you keep it long enough, it's probably going to go up in value because, you know, resale is super high. People are making hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, man. Look at what happened with the Shadows. All they got to do is release a colorway that's not as good as the other colorway before it, the 2.0, and the 1.0 shoots up. But a lot of people don't like how these look compared to the Fragments, but look at the difference in price just due to a couple different markings and some color blocking, you know what I mean? To me, this is fire though. I don't care. If, you know what I'm saying? If I could get this for retail and I have to wear this colorway, oh well. Even on the toe box, the actual leathers itself, let me try to zoom in here for you if I can. Look at the difference in the leather quality. You can just look at it and one looks like plastic compared to the one that looks like leather. And I told you, I already squeezed them titties, man. These titties feel fake. I'm not gonna lie, man. These titties feel Silicon Valley. You know what I'm saying? While these be feeling old natural, dog. I could run my whole, look at that bounce back, man. Only real titties bounce back like that, baby. But yeah, man, I ain't even gonna front. The quality on these, when you squeeze a Jordan 1, dog, it's like, I could tell this is meant to, you know what I'm saying? This is meant for wear and use and breaking in like a fine leather coat, dog. You know what I mean? So the differences are vast and extreme. Now, we have many examples of mids and low tops here. What do you guys think about the differences? And are you guys willing to pay the difference in price? Because I mean, the price hike from a 150 to 230 is vast, but I feel like this shoe, bro, when you ever put a Jordan 1 on compared to a mid or a low top, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna know the difference. If you've only ever had mids or lows, make sure you find you a friend that has a pair of well broken ones and put them on your feet for yourself to see if I'm capping or not, because I already know that's the real tea. So it just is what it is, man. Looking at the tongue sections, you know, you on this one at least, and this is a design element of the Royal Toes. They had this leather tongue section here, and usually it's nylon, but once again, it's just it's a padded nylon instead of just a flat nylon like on the mids. The mids don't have no padding in there, whereas the ones actually have a little bit of padding inside the nylon. Not as much as the ones though, but the one lows, but the high tops definitely got a little bit of padding. Definitely come unlaced and come with an extra pair of laces as well, whereas the mids come laced. Now, all of these shoes are just amazing to have. Let's look at the booty now. There's the literal difference. I'm gonna try to line these bottoms up as closely as possible, and this is the difference in the highs and the lows. You know what I'm saying? You can clearly see there's a height difference. There's just a lot more mid panel. The swoosh is actually bigger on the mid tops as opposed to the high tops. The high top swoosh is a little bit actually more small, and they devote a little bit more space to this mid section, this mid panel here. So that's one of the main differences between the mids and the highs, as opposed to, that's basically it. And the color blocking might be flipped as well. The interiors are very much feeling the same as far as quality of padding goes, and the ISA section seems to be very similar, but the cuts of leather are generally much thicker on the high top, I feel like, and once again on the back here you can see that they've rolled the leather over on the mids. There you go, you can see it's kind of like a leather, it's been folded over, so you can't actually see the cuts. I don't know if they're doing that on purpose to make it clean, but you can't actually see the cuts of leather. On this, you can actually see how thick the cuts are, and you can see the quality of leather in there if you want to check it out. But some people won't even touch mid tops or low tops. They'll only touch the high tops. The difference between all of these shoes is very, very big. And the price points ranging from $120 to $230 is very extreme, but you are getting a whole lot for $230. This is a signature shoe. These are technically signature shoes too, but they do not put the same quality and give the same respect they do to the high tops. I would say the lows are very close in quality to the mids. The high tops are in a league of their own. The justification is right there in the quality, you know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is. These are some of the differences I wanted to show you guys, and hopefully you guys get some value before you make your decision. And yeah, man, that's it for now.